Excuse me, I've been forgetting this step. Good morning, good morning. Excuse me here. We have connection, microphone. Good, 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 good. What a pile of crap on the desk today. Tons and tons of work waiting. Good morning, gang. Familiar faces? Familiar faces? Look at that lady with her smartphone. Crash. Okay, etene. Work, work, work. We have the normal carving work waiting, but before that, the printers have dumped a bunch of stuff on the table for me, and I'm going to have to process this today before sending it to Ome. And before I do that, we have another one of these jobs to do. Good news or bad news, I'm sorry, I don't know, but I've got some embossing to do. But before that, let's clean up and see what we've got here. They are so busy, our printers, they are so busy. We're having a gangbuster time, actually. What's this one? Oh, yeah, okay. It's the back number. You've seen this before. This is from last year. This is last year's, August print, kind of. Ayumi-san this time has done a batch. Suga-san did it last year. Now Ayumi-san. We are stocking up like crazy, getting ready for next year. Next year we're going to be running both of these series, the JJ series and the GJ series again. What has she got here? It looks about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. She's been eating her Suga-san pills. She says okay, maybe, and no good. We'll have a look about that. So that's not going to happen on stream. We'll do that aside. Yes, paper is out just actually a few moments ago before the stream. So I ran upstairs and did it. What else? We have, this is another back one. This is the Dragon in Clouds. And actually Yamamoto-san, he printed this for us a few weeks ago. Maybe it's almost 2 months ago. But he doesn't have experience with doing the metallic pigments. There's a bunch of metallics on here. There's, try and get a good angle here. There's a bunch of metallic pigments. The poem is done in bronze powder, and there's silver dots all over the dragon. And he has no experience of doing that. So I told him, just make the print, dry it off, send it back to us, and we'll do the metallics here. And yesterday, Dei-chan, she had time between 2 different jobs. She did the metallics here yesterday. So they'll split the printing fee for this one between the 2 of them. And again, I'll check this one, send it to Ome, and the shop has now been opened up. That's been out of stock for a while, but it's now back in business. What else is here? Oh, these are prints. They're waiting to be put in the FedEx box for Jed. These are Heroes prints that are on their way to Jed. We sent a batch earlier a few days ago. Now there's more going. And here we are, the first batch. This is the initial batch of dragons. We've had one dragon already. This is the initial batch of the new dragonfly. And I tell you, I am really, really happy with this. It's simple. Look at this, the rain just disappears. The wings, how do you think we printed the wings there? No mica. It's printed with a super light, delicate gray, which makes it look like shiny silver. And what she did was, she did the Karazuri embossing on the wings first to deeply impress the paper. She did it with huge force. Then she printed the light blue-gray with a completely flat barren. So the parts that were embossed already didn't pick up pigment. And then because the printing of the blue had slightly flattened the paper, she went back and did the Karazuri again. I don't know if we can zoom in, if we can get a view of this or not. I'm very, very happy with this. Very happy. It's a beautiful little object. There's nothing here really. This is not great art. We're not changing the world here. We're just making stuff that is nice to hold. And look at that rain. It just disappears. Very, very happy. I'm very happy with this. Dei-chan, I tell you, she's just turning out to be so good at this. So good at this. She started like from scratch. Was it 5 years ago? She started from scratch. So those, I will check these this morning. They go to Ome and they're already sold. Of course, this batch, the next 3 batches are already sold. Okay, and last up, and the one that's going to be the work this morning. Love the wings, yeah, the wings. I think our version is way, way, way better than the original Hiroshige version. Way better. The one we quote unquote reproduced. It's in the collection of the Rhode Island School of, what's it called? RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, Rhode Island School of Arts and Design, I forget. They have a huge collection of Hiroshige nature prints in their museum. And I looked online and found the one. And ours is way better. Way, way, way better. Rhode Island School of Music. Yeah, thanks, John. How about a link for that one? Okay, what this is my work this morning for the first half hour anyway. I'll be carving later on the last half of the stream, but my work on the first half of the stream here is I have to do some embossing. And we have another, my job is so much fun. This is from Kubota-san, Top Gun Pro. Top Gun Pro. I'm not supposed to show you this. This is October's print. I'm not supposed to show this, but I don't care. I don't care. This guy can just do it. This guy can just do it so well. My God, he can just do it so well. I'm a bit embarrassed now because this is the 3rd batch. Dei-chan did a good batch, very nice. Ishikawa-san did a nice batch, very nice. They were all really totally okay. And now Kubota-san, he's blown them out of the water. So I don't know. But he won't put his name on it. We've had this before. So my job this morning now is to put his name on it. Now these are to die for. These are absolutely to die for. Jed's done a nice job and Kubota-san has just killed it. I want him to work for us for the next 50 years, but that's not going to be possible. I'm sorry, not going to be possible. He's on the verge of retirement. I'm 68. I'll be 70 next year actually. And he's got 5 or 6 years on me. He's maybe 75. And he keeps saying, oh, that's all. He keeps saying, no, I've had enough. And then he keeps saying, send me another job, will you? Yeah, the palette again. Actually, to keep going, the same thing, the palette on that one, that was again created by Dei-chan. I've learned to keep out of her way. We give Jed's color separation idea to Dei-chan, and she just goes to, and she's put in, Jed's idea didn't have the 2-tone trees here, and I think Jed had no gradation on the back of this tree, on the back of these hills. And Jed had a line. He put a key block line on the so we took we've edited this quite a bit, but it's funny too. You see this. This is, of course, supposed to be referring to a famous anime. And did you see the news from that anime studio yesterday? They posted Suzuki-san, who is, one of the head honchos at Studio Ghibli. They posted something last night, here in Japan at least. I don't know if it went international. But if you look up the Studio Ghibli webpage, they made a very interesting post last night. Okay, Dave, get this done. 2 names and... Yeah, it's a Halloween palette, eh? So nice, so nice. People are scrambling looking for a Studio Ghibli link, are you? That's fine. I don't have a link ready, so I can't give it to you, but I saw it in my news feed. It was in my Google news feed last night. Is that it? I don't know what it is, but if it's a 2020-09-19, that must be it. Yes, I guess. 400 images. And the comment from Suzuki-san. I don't know if that Mainichi newspaper article, does it have Suzuki-san's comment? The news is there. The images are available for the download and for the taking. But does that Mainichi story have Suzuki-san's comment also included? Oh, the Japanese, is it? Soka. So, use them as you wish. It said jiyude. Use them as you wish, but within the bounds of common sense. What does that mean? Commercial use or motor off? John got it. Okay, good. Lots of chocolate eggs here today. Chocolate eggs. Thank you very much, guys. Good. Okay, a little bit fooling around today because I don't have one of our embossing blocks for this particular combination. This combination is carved by Chon-san and printed by Kubota in a horizontal format. And we had before, I have horizontal carved by Kawasaki, printed by Kubota, and I have vertical formats carved by Chon-san, printed by Kubota. But I don't have one to fit this particular format in with the right lettering in it. So that's my job right now to do this. I'm making a new board, and I don't have a single one that says carved by Chon. This says carved by Chon-san, printed by Tsushima, which is not right. And this one says carved by Nagao-san, printed by Kubota-san. So I'm going to cut and combine here. Yes, somebody's saying obviously commercial use is presumably, when he says use your common sense. I guess so. So when Dave saw that news last night, he wasn't jumping up and down saying, oh my God, it's here, I can get going on my project, for two reasons. One is because we are commercial use, obviously, and the second is what he is displaying there and what they're allowing for download is not what I wanted to use for printmaking anyway. It was never Dave's intention for the Ghibli project just to use the cells from the videos, from the animes as they were. We wanted to create new, interesting imagery based on the anime. So this news is really nothing for me specifically today, except that it does seem to show that those guys are not being really tight and protective of their stuff, that they're going to be more willing to let people do things with it. Okay, so there we are. I'll get the right combination here. This is carved by Chon-san, printed by Kubota-san. Someone's asking, if you order a subscription, you get 3 months worth of prints or 12. All subscriptions, with no exceptions, all subscriptions are for a full set. Most of the sets, because they were done monthly, most of the sets are 12 prints. And no matter when you start, you always start with the first print in the set. So even though on any given year the first print always was sent in January and then the next people got February, March, when you come to it late, you start with the first print, which is the January print. So it's always the same. Everybody gets the same set of 12 prints. You just start at a different time. I've tried to explain it on the website. I think it's on the FAQ page, but still, people are still a bit unsure about it. So when you get this, if you subscribe to, say, the Portraits #1 set, whatever, you get the same set of 12 prints that everybody else gets. The series we're doing now, this is the 10th print. Nobody can start now. They start with this series back with print #1. Wow, too many questions. I cannot cover all this. I'm sorry. So there may be questions I'm missing here. I'm sorry. Now, where to put this? Let's draw our lines here. The truck is so quiet, isn't it? So nice. The guy behaves himself, you know. I was ready to go out there the other day and quietly ask, can you stop the idling, please? But I didn't. I kept quiet. And he's busy today. Asakusa has been jumping. Asakusa has been jumping. Yesterday it was so busy. Busier here than I've seen it, well, pre-corona. I've never seen it this busy. And it's only young people. There's nobody my age or whatever walking around at all. The bars are full of young people. Bars and restaurants. Can I reveal more about the Koryusai series? It's all going to be Kachoe. I mean, that's the concept. It's a Koryusai nature series. And by definition, that's what it will be. They will all be Kachoe, but we're keeping it loose. I know Koryusai did some designs of animals that weren't just a minute, let me get this done here. Let's test this. Let's see if it's okay. Looking at the back of his deck here, you know how they do this, right? The printers send them to me, and at the back of the deck they put 2 or 3 copies with the corner cut off that are no good. There are no copies here with the corner cut off. For a pro like Kubota-san, a job like this, he's just laughing. For him it's just so simple. There are no corner copies cut off. The guy has just batted 1,000. And the rule is, of course, that he sends back the same number of sheets I gave him. That's what they have to do. You know, if I send 110 sheets of paper, 110 sheets have to come back. And the ones that are no good, you know, I've got to be able to see them and whatever. There was scandals in about the time when I first came to Japan in the late 80s. There was a specific printer, not just him, a few printers they would take the job from the publisher. Thanks for the blocks. Oh, good, the paper, thanks for the paper. 2 weeks, okay, no problem. And when they were making a print, they would put some of their own sheets of paper inside, send back the normal ones to the publisher, and then when they were in a department store somewhere doing a demonstration for selling prints, they would sell the prints. Not everybody did that, but a number of them did, and one man specifically was famous for doing that. He got caught and taken to court for it. He was sued for it. Became very much a black sheep in the community. And the printers, they were supposed to respond by, they're supposed to send back every single sheet. Okay, let me test this here. I think we're looking good. Let's try one. Well, it would help to have a baron on hand. Thank you, Oshibori-san. I think we're okay. That top part, I think, actually is a little bit off. Let's see if I can squeeze that in a bit. Felt for carving because I got to slide the block around. This is non-slip. I don't want this to move. So for the printing, always, whenever we're printing anything, it's non-slip. We don't want the stuff to move. When I'm carving, I want to be able to slide the things around. Wouldn't 2 prints at once work? Wouldn't 2 prints at once work, Dave? 2 prints at once. I'm not sure what you're asking me here. 2 prints at once. No, you mean like this way? Stacking them up 1, 2? No, impossible. Look, what happens here? Hang on one sec. The back of this paper, once I'm finished printing this thing, the back of this paper is flat. It's not embossed and debossed. This is not being crunched from both sides like this. This is flat on the back. So the back is flat and the front you can see the plastic polymer has been embossed deep into the paper. So there's no way I could stack these up. Absolutely no way. If that's what you meant, I'm sorry. Geez, he's done a good job on this. Look at this. Little tint on the clothing to show. It's not white, it's not blue, just enough of a tint. The only white paper left is the smoke. The persimmons are nice bright red against the blue sky. Sorry to go on about that, but whatever. What's a good angle here? It's good. And we've got a stack of about 80 or 90 to go here. So sorry, I've been a bit slow getting started, but let's get rolling through this. Let's finish this, and then I have carving. There's also, I notice now, something else happening with this. I don't know if you can see at the back of the paper. It started to develop what our printers call junko. Look at the back of this. It's come through nicely. Okay, do you see what's happening here? Look at this. See the dot. Oh, Kira-san, good morning. My mask here, hang on a sec. Today, basically continue from last week, you're partway through, but before I forget, we've got to mail some stuff today. We have to mail the last batch of Patreon chibis today.
Okay.
And that means putting stamps on and stuff like that. So when I'm finished here, I can...
Pardon? I can do that to start off.
They're in the box at the back there, sure. All the address labels are on. It needs the return address,
From this FedEx box?
No. The little... So it's the stamps top right corner. There are it's 2 stamps. It's 190 yen.
2 stamps top right corner.
And then the airmail label bottom left corner, and the return address, which I think is in the drawer here. The stamp. What do you call it?
Yes.
Rubber stamp. And then the post office is closed today, actually. So sometime later this afternoon, I have to wander up to the main post office, which has a Jikangai Maruguchi. So it's okay. So yeah. Sorry, excuse me, talking to Kira-san here today.
Sorry, chat.
So. I thought when you came in today, I knew Kira-san's coming today, and I thought you would come in the door and say, "Did you have any news yesterday?"
Yeah, but it's not beneficial.
Okay, but I was just expecting you to say so.
I think we're
Kira-san is very much hip on all Japanese modern anime type culture. Absolutely, her family. It's okay. Her partner works for a company doing anime related news and stuff like that. I guess he's a overseas correspondent. Or how would you describe that?
The Japanese correspondent for Crunchyroll.
There you have it. You heard it. So she knows way more than any of us about this stuff, And last year, when people were coming in to talk about our hero series or something or whatever, they asked Dave a question, and Dave was sort of his eyes start to panic, and Kira-san jumps in and shows those people that we know what we're talking about, So. they're all the same. 190, right? What is no one? What stamps have you got there? Because each one
One
takes.
for 90 and one for 100. So I'm assuming
Yeah, 190. Yep, one each piece all around. So. And find a sponge or whatever. I don't know what I don't know. So how you doing? How's the baby?
This morning was okay. I've been up since about 4 a.m., which explains why I missed every single one of my transfers today.
Transfers. Trains, you mean?
Yes. A little bit.
It takes you a while to get here now to show compared to last year.
Oh, no, about the same amount.
Really?
Actually. It's only, the only difference is it's 2 trains instead of 1 train. But the timing is still the same.
For those who didn't know, Kita-chan's family has now not multiplied, it's added by 1. She became a mother a few months ago. 3 months? No, 2
months, yeah.
2 months.
He still absolutely refuses to lay on his front at all.
No idea. You know, it's funny, I can say that she's listening, so it's okay to say this in public, you know. From my point of view, looking at these ladies, Kita-san thinks of herself as a normal adult woman. And she's whatever, I don't even know, 20s, 30s, whatever. I don't care. But from Dave's point of view, when I see something like this, a young girl like this, and I can say this without, this is nothing sexist, whatever. I'm 69, whatever, 68. To me, you're a young girl, young lady. And a young lady like this becoming a mother, and I'm thinking, this is not right. This is like a baby having a baby, you know. And I'm saying this as I laugh, you know. But I see it. It's a baby having a baby, you know.
To tell the truth, it kind of feels like that with me as well. Like, my husband still follows me around going, you forgot to turn the light off, you forgot to put the dishes away. Okay.
You know, like I'm thinking, like this should be illegal. You know, you're not allowed to do that sort of stuff yet. You know, so.
But looking at my family, most of the mothers in my family had babies around the same age, which is like 20, 21.
So my mother was 24 when I was born. So it's like it's normal, I guess, whatever, you know. So, but it just, I don't know. The world just seems different, you know. Or maybe because when I was the middle-aged and having babies, we did it in our 30s. And that was sort of normal back in that era, in the 1980s. Women back then were having babies in their 30s. And here in Japan, of course, too, it's the same thing. The age of having your first baby is like...
It's going up.
It's going up, 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 up. So I think something, it's 30-something for sure, you know. So Ayumi-san last year had her baby way younger than you even, I think, and then you, and I'm thinking, what's going on here, you know? Babies having babies, you know.
So male is bottom left?
I think it doesn't matter. I know, whatever you think, we need just balance it up, you know. Yamada-san did a bunch of these the other day. He put the stamps in the top left, Japanese style. But this is for foreign mail, and the post office rule is clear. Stamps go on the top right, return address goes on top left. Everything else just wherever is I know, sensible and readable. I know various people can say congratulations, etc., you know, whatever. So.
Oh, thank you, Jen.
So who's that in the shop with Dave? Somebody answers, a baby. This is I don't know, I didn't even, this is Kita-san. He came to us, no, it's not 2 years, but more than a year. Show a year and a half?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
So she worked for us when we still had a shop. She worked for us in various capacities, in the shop itself, helping with the print parties, and more recently, working on the flea market, helping scan and get stuff up into the flea market online, which is what she's done last week and today also. In fact, a bunch of stuff will be going open today, right?
Yes.
This afternoon. Yeah, so Peter up and new stuff in the flea market later this afternoon.
A lot of the Entryway stuff is going up again.
Well, so some of them are repeats, things that sold out, but we have multiple copies. So Kita-san's been scanning them. How many kids does Cameron have now? 5. No, you're confusing 2 things. You're confusing Jed and Cameron. Cameron has 2 now, and Jed has 4 to show. Yeah,
I was
4.
gonna say 5.
No, it's 4. It's 4. Cameron has 2 and Jed has 4. I believe that's he says he was kidding, whatever. So. Cameron is not here today. He's working at home, and for him, he's either, I'm not sure what viewpoint is. We're in the middle of what they call, there's a new expression in Japan now called Silver Week. Have you heard about that, Kita-san?
Yes.
This is new to me this time around, but apparently it came a few years ago. So.
Yeah, I think it's been going ever since I've been here.
You know, that shows you how far behind the scenes I am. You know about Golden Week in Japan, where a bunch of national holidays came so close together, everybody decided just shut the place down for 10 days and whatever, and just do that. So most major factories close for a 9 or 10 day period in the spring for Golden Week. And it's come now that in September, a couple of holidays have been bumped together, and I guess the government again is trying to encourage consumerism. So this is now being called, and this is new to me, this is being called Silver Week. And this year it means it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday are the holidays, because a holiday that fell on Sunday has been bumped to Tuesday or something. And be polite to me today, because it's respect for the aged.
Aging or age?
Whatever, what's the translation? Respect for the old people, Dojins. So respect for the aged, of which I am officially one. Also, too, did you notice it was because of the old folks' holiday, there was a news report about various things related to old people. Japan now has the oldest person that's ever lived on the planet or something, 117 years old lady. She's alive, or?
Really? It did up until, I think it was the beginning of this year, it was Japan. And then I think it was a woman died, and then it went back.
Yes, and the woman alive now has now passed the previous woman's record. I think it's not the planet. There's that French lady who was supposed to be 150 or something. I don't know if they believe that or whatever. But this woman's 117, well documented. And there was a news clip of her in the old folks' home, walking into the lounge and sitting down. And I'm like, 117, you know, what? 117? 77, 87, 97. That's 50 years older than me. 50. I'm 68, right? See, 1 year back. It's when I was 67. Add 50 to that, 117. She's 50 years older than me. I'm thinking I'm running out of energy. So someone's asking about the Golden Week thing. Was one of the holidays was the previous emperor's birthday? Did it change with the new emperor? I don't know, but I think they're not in any way going to break up Golden Week because of something like that. They will keep it as a holiday and call it respect for the old emperors or something. No, it wasn't, because it was the previous. So they've already been through that. So the previous emperor was in December, his birthday. So they kept the Golden Week one for the older emperor. They did a new one in December for that emperor. And I don't know what the next policy is. Every time a guy dies, we get a new whole. Well, wait a minute. As an employee, I could go for that. As an employer, I'm not so happy about that. So. Do you want to, how do you feel like it? Remember Cameron used to sit and follow the chat and stuff.
Yeah.
If I mask up here, do you want to do that? Are you okay to talk to people like this? I don't know how public you are or whatever. This is Kidda Harding, or I don't know, that's your married name is? I don't even know which name is your, which is what. So, and we should be able to turn this. This is not, it's Wi-Fi, so we should be able to turn this without damaging the stream. If I can turn this. Oops, we're on a stand here to make this. No? Okay. Did we get it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, it's up to you. And you can. That camera's not adjustable, but whatever.
Okay. Where's chat?
Chat's in a separate stream here.
Rebecca. Is there no Karen today?
Karen's here, yeah. It's all the regular people. I mean, they are contractually obligated to show up here 3 times a week, you know. I mean, they get their paycheck all the time. They show up. John, Corinne Gummy, Karen Becker. I mean, it's in their contract. They have to show up here 3 days a week, you know. I need
They
this.
don't get Silver Week off?
Silver Week off. It's my way. We have no viewers, so I have to pay for viewers. So, you know, this is top secret, by the way. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell John.
He doesn't know he's contracted yet. Hi, Karen.
You remember Karen from being here, show?
Yeah. I still have her print. I've moved recently, and I've got all my prints together, and it's the front of the packet.
And because the number of people visiting has really grown quite spectacular, we're not in the 10,000 area, but we're in the 300, 400, 500 group each day. And because of that, the volume of the chat has increased really quite a lot. And it's impossible for me to sit there and look at the screen and cover it. So I am missing a huge amount of this these days.
I have tuned in a couple of times, and most of the questions are already answered before I can even get to them.
So that's great. So the regular viewers are doing that. It's really super helpful, and also it's not just helpful. It creates a more of a community feeling, And I get that comment lots that people say, "Oh my God, wow! I never saw something like this on Twitch ever before anywhere."
That's why we work today. If we answer questions to him instead.
So they're going to be asking for a raise soon, I think.
I found this stream by accident. So happy I clicked on the stream. Oh, nice idea. If you enjoy and can turn up for the others 3 days a week, 2 days a week. It's what?
It's three. It's
Monday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah, Japan time. Yes. So it's hard to believe that when I first started this twitching, it's now nearly 3 years ago. I did it 6 days a week. And I did it twice, once in the morning at 8 o'clock and once again 5:30 in the afternoon.
Really?
Because I thought it would be a cool thing to do.
I only started tuning in after it gone to one time a day.
One time a day?
So like,
No, it was 6 days a week, twice a day. And that didn't last for long because it was just totally unsustainable. I had just been thinking that there wouldn't be anything for me to do. Just put the camera on and just work and ignore that. I had been thinking it wasn't going to require any what's the word?
Effort.
Yes, any extra effort from me, And of course, I quickly got disabused of that, So.
There are some channels that mostly, they don't really stream on Twitch. They stream on other platforms that just do, they'll put on a camera.
Turn it on and turn it off. You mean no interaction?
Yeah.
The reason it didn't work in the afternoons was because in the morning now we've set this for a time before the shop is open, so I'm totally in control of the time.
Yeah.
I set my alarm clock, I have my breakfast, get my shower, not in that order, and then do the stream. But in the afternoon, you're swamped with other stuff that's coming in, people coming to the door and whatever. So the afternoons was just impossible.
At 5 chocolate eggs, it equals a chibi hero.
Is there an exchange rate?
We need like a coupon card.
I'm really careless with the eggs. I'll forget about it for a while, and people do stuff, and then I'll give too many out at all one time and something. So I'm really careless. I'm sorry, Anna. I've debased that currency.
South African accent? No, South Australian. Well, kind of.
Yeah, no, I can see people saying that. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's because it's kind of all over the place.
There's a bit of the boar in there, absolutely. So are you sure you know who your parents and grandparents are, or
We have a joke. Me and my siblings. I have an older sister. There's me and my younger brother and sister, and they're twins. But my older sister, my brother, and me all look like my father. And my younger sister.
Okay, we don't need to go there. We don't.
So everyone basically says, "Oh, she's adopted." Even though they're twins, she's adopted. And my uncle only caught on to it maybe a couple weeks ago. And he thought everyone was being serious and didn't understand. He's like, "No, you're all, what do you mean she's adopted? They're twins. That can't be." But everyone's so in on the joke that they're just like second nature.
I mean, lots of families would have this. We all know who our mother is, but we don't ask too much about the other ones. So I'm going to be careful. My mother's listening here, I'm sure. So I know. So.
Do I take photos for the collection or scan images? I only scan images, not for the collection, but for the online shop.
So this is interesting. So I wanted to actually chat with you about this too, and to run a little bit of background. We've had for our catalog online and stuff for many, many years, we've been basically scanning. It's not working well. You get a basic vision of what the print is, but it doesn't look like a woodblock print. I did some experiments with this 10, 12, 15 years ago to do some photography under raking light, and it worked very well, but it was too complicated to do here in the shop for our flea market business. So all during the last year, the prints going into the flea market have been simply scanned on an A3 scanner. But starting 2 or 3 months ago, I set up, because the shop is closed, I'm speaking to the channel, the shop is closed, I set up a photography station here in what used to be the shop. And all the prints in our collection have been photographed under raking light, and they are looking beautiful. They are looking fantastic. So one question for me and Kitasan and the other staff to address is, moving forward, prints we put into the flea market that are for sale, should we also give them this treatment, photographing them on the special stand under side light, going through the Photoshop, spending a half an hour on each one, color balancing and everything else. And it's a plus minus. It means we spend a whole lot of extra time on those images for a print that's only going to maybe sell for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 yen, only one, and then the image gets tossed away.
Yeah.
And the other downside is, for an object that we're selling, if we make it look too good on the catalog page, and we've had this in real life, people that have bought a print based on what they saw in the shop here, they've sent an email later when they get it home and open it, this is not the same one that I saw in the shop. Because in the shop here, they saw it on the wall under raking light with beautiful embossing, and they opened it in their classroom or something, or office under the fluorescent lights. And they seriously didn't understand the difference. So for the prints for sale in the shop, I really want to avoid making them look too good. And I'm not saying this in a sarcastic way at all. I would like to make them look beautiful. But at some point, it gets to me almost like false advertising. We know how to dress them up and make them look really nice, but Mrs. Consumer, who opens the package, doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm of two minds about this.
Like fast food photography.
Or any photography of a Vogue magazine or whatever. Their job is to make that thing look as drop dead gorgeous and beautiful as possible, you know. But in the case of a catalog of stuff for sale, I'm a little leery about that. If there's any feedback on this, I don't know here. If the stuff looks too good on the website, it can only lead to disappointment. If it looks okay on the website, people are going to be happy when they get it. And with the collection, they're not for sale, so it doesn't matter at all. My job is to make those things look as absolutely beautiful as they are in real life, under ideal circumstances.
Do a side-by-side comparison. That could work. For example, like what I do now is I scan the photos and take several cropped parts of the image, just like that. If I add an additional single image that's scanned, so a high-quality one.
The scanning doesn't work, remember?
Photography. So one high-quality image, you can see how it looks like perfectly, but you can also see how it would look under normal lighting circumstances.
The problem there is now that we've doubled the work we're doing for this for an item that we only have one copy of for sale in the flea market. You know, stuff our regular catalog, like if we did that with this painting, no problem, because I've got 100 of them for sale.
Yeah.
But for the flea market, we only have one of each.
And then I have to redo it each
And we have to
time,
redo it each time. So it's a question of if it takes you 3 hours to do this, or whatever the time, then bang, that's our profit margin gone. So I can't, we've had this conundrum now for quite a while. So my current thinking is for the flea market, just keep scanning. It shows people what the print is, what the image is. It shows the defects, it's dirty, or there's a pinhole or something. Identify the mistakes, the defects. But we're not trying to objectify it,
I think the time spent trying to get the photo would outweigh.
That's my problem. So, at the end of the day here, this is a business, and I have to balance all these things, so.
Dave was talking about something with the color on the back of the...
Oh, yes. When you rudely came in the door and interrupted me. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks for reminding me, whoever it was. Give the guy half a chocolate egg, please. I've got to ration these. I'm running out. Okay. Yes. Sorry about that. I just, Dave has really a one-track mind. It's not so much a one-track mind, it's that I can only hold one idea in focus now. And when somebody bumps it out, it's squirrel, whatever, the way it goes. Okay, so where was I? We were looking at the back of the print, and the colors, they come through quite a lot, but in each of these color areas, you can see it in the tree, and you can see there's a dot. There's sort of a bit of a speckled pattern on the back side here. Now, we don't see it on the front. The front, he's given us, Kubota-san has done his job, he's given us a smooth tsubushi here. But there's a speckled pattern, and this is what the printers are calling janko. And it comes from one main thing: when the Nikawa glue in the sizing is too strong, the pigments do not smoothly integrate through all the paper, and you get this speckled pattern. If there's more glue even, you start to see it on the front, and if there's even more, you just get a grotesque pattern all through the front because the pigment will not smoothly go through the paper. So it's a question of the amount of Nikawa glue in the sizing mix. Okay, roll back to the springtime. We come out of the cold weather, it starts to get warmer. As it gets warmer, Dave is sizing the paper. He has to increase the glue in the size as it gets warmer. Because if we don't, the paper is too weak. So long story short, the amount of glue goes up in the summer and it goes down in the winter. And in the midwinter, the amount of glue is down to about 30 grams per liter. And in the middle of the summer, the amount of glue is up to about 60. So a few weeks ago, I had reached the peak. We had been cruising. It's 35 degrees upstairs when the printers are working. I had been using glue at 60 grams per liter. But now it started to get a bit cooler. So a few weeks ago, when I was preparing the paper for this job, I was thinking, is it time to start cranking back the sizing down to 55 or so? And it was still hot upstairs, and I thought, Kapura-san's house, maybe no air conditioning, I don't know. So I left it at 60. That was a mistake. And I can see now that I should have started my decline. I should have started dropping that Nikawa week by week earlier. Now he has done this. He's a really fabulous printer. But seeing this, and maybe if I chat with him on the phone, he'll say, it's starting to get junko, so drop that number, So when I'm doing some sizing, it'll be tomorrow, the day after, I will absolutely now crank that down to 55 and maybe even a bit lower. And my problem is I don't see the results till 2 weeks later when I get the prints. So if I've cranked it down too far, we get fibers pulling off. If I haven't cranked it down far enough, we get the junko. So I've got to hit that sweet spot, which is within a range of about 5 grams per liter.
Can you fix the junko by doing several impressions?
No, because the glue is a physical thing inside there. It doesn't matter, I can print on it once or twice or 3 times or 4 times, it still isn't going to go in there. I mean, it's gone, the pigment is in the paper, but it hasn't gone in a smooth way. And seeing from the front, no problem. If I hold this up to the light, get this on, you can see this. You can see the dots because now it's clear where there's pigment and where there isn't pigment. So this is okay, but if I let it go, and if it got worse, we would become visible on the front of this paper. So David, it's like driving a car down the road, a little bit left, whoops, nope, a little bit right, a little bit left, a little bit right, but the road is not straight. The temperature is changing all the time.
And this temperature drop was quite sudden as well.
It's been up and down, underneath it's been up and down. It's crazy. But this is why we do the paper for each batch of prints. We don't do a batch of paper for the whole year or something. We do the sizing for each job individually.
Oh no. Everyone keeps asking who I am, and the response is just a baby, a baby, a baby.
Are you a meme? I don't think so. This is young Kida-san. Okay, this is, no, it's Kida-san, whatever. Kida-san from Australia, who came to us a year and a half ago. And is part-time staff, not a full-time employer here, part-time staff doing shop, the old print parties, and now working on the flea market catalog.
Soon practicing printing. But
on your own time upstairs, you mean, yeah. So. Kapura-san did a huge batch. I'm not even halfway through, so I think what I should perhaps do is, let me do a few more here, then I'll put this aside. It's no fair to do a whole full hour and a half stream of just rubbing this embossing. It's not fun for people. So let's do that. I've done here about half of them maybe. They have to get to Ome this afternoon, but it doesn't have to be this morning. So let's do this. Let's take a break here. This is what I've done so far. There's another about the same amount still to go, but I'll do that after the stream has closed. It's not fair to viewers, especially new viewers, come to see Japanese woodblock printmaking and just see that kind of embossing. So let me put that away for a few minutes here.
do I have a favorite print in the catalog?
If they're talking to me, I don't answer questions like that, but if it's you, it's up to you.
I don't have a favorite print, but there are a couple different ones that I like. Almost all the Hasui ones I've been looking at recently for help with my designs. Out of the gift prints, probably the chrysanthemum one, which is not here. Being used as an example somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Went to Komodo-san for a... Okay, I'll need some guidance here on where to put the lights and stuff. Let's see, zoom in. Am I on board?
Yep.
Somewhere on there?
Looks
Okay.
perfect.
So this is the real work, the real printmaking work. And for those of you who weren't here yesterday, who don't know what's going on, here's an overview of the image that's happening here. This is the overview of the line drawing. It's the first print in next year's series, which is going to be a series of nature prints by Koryusai, who lived and worked in the 1740s, 1750s, I think. And reading through the chat from the stream 2 days ago, there's a bit of a misunderstanding. I haven't shown the original print. There are not many left behind. There are 3 or 4 copies in museums around the world. And after we talked about this on the previous stream, some people, John or whatever, some people went to a website and found some copies of the original. And reading through the chat, there's a lot of misunderstanding. People are saying, oh my God, no, look at that. There's a mistake in the sun and stuff like that. The copies that we have left of the original are not very well made. And we are not going to copy the defects at all. We are going to make our own new version of this, just using his concept, his idea. So the one that they found on a museum page has faded color and stuff like that. Of course, we will make a new, clean one. Actually, I have a problem here, Kira-san. The microscope is fogging.
Because of the mask?
Because of the mask. I don't wear a mask here,
I'm
so...
far enough away that it should be fine.
How far down can I get this? Just a sec. If I cover my mouth while I'm talking to show. Let's see how this
As long
works.
as you don't cough in my direction, it should be fine.
It's worse. Totally fogged up.
Will all of the Koryusai series be birds?
No, they are going to be nature prints on a bird. It's a kacho series, which means literally flower bird, but that's a generic term. So they're not going to be birds. Out of the 12, I think the current thinking is there's 6 of them are actually going to be birds, and the rest are going to be Koryusai animals. And we are ending, number 12, it's already been decided, we are ending with the Koryusai dragon. So no, they will not be birds only. So.
There's only one other dragon print that you've carved for the...
Well, the one we did this morning, that was arrested when you came in. I don't remember. There might have been one. I don't remember. There's so many prints now.
When was the outdoor camera introduced?
I don't remember.
Parangami says more than 1 year ago. It was usually just weekends.
Yeah, what was happening, it used to be an indoor camera posted on the bench, and Cameron was doing play-by-play. So when Cameron came, the camera used to be sitting over there, and it picked up on Cameron. But once he went AWOL, that's that, you know. So we just put it outside. It's funny, you know. Now and then there's a new person in the stream will say, "What's going on with the outside camera?" And the people will explain it's just to get an idea of, you know, the street scene in Asakusa. You know, somebody will say, that's not interesting, who cares, that's boring, you know. And maybe it's boring, because at this time of day nothing much is happening out there. But in the time before I came to Japan, I would have really thought that was cool. Wow, look at that, I can see, you know, live a street scene in Tokyo, you know. The downside is it's 8 o'clock in the morning and nothing much is going on. But
the currents are interesting.
And a few minutes before the stream went live today, I activated the switch, put the power on the levitating pole, and it seems to be working okay today. That's quite an electrical bill for that, you know.
Can't you, like, turn it down so it's levitating a little less off the ground?
Well, we just turn it off at night and let it go back down, and then I bring it up for the stream, and then that's it, you know. Luckily, there's not so many people out there, so It would be dangerous to show if we did this at the evening and stuff. My God.
Yeah, especially with all the people drinking, they might not see the post.
Yep.
What drew me to woodblock printing? I actually did it in elementary school, so it was kind of funny. My art teacher got in an argument with the principal because she wanted to do Japanese style woodblock printing, and the principal said it's all the same, just do lino print. And she pushed and pushed, and finally they let us use Japanese style tools and barons, but we couldn't use woodblocks because it was too dangerous. So we still used the water pigments, barons, and lino block. And that's what got me interested in it for the most part, and I forgot about it going through university, because I went through university to do animation and came to Japan to continue that. But then when I got to Japan, for reasons, dropped the animation interest.
Sanity, one of them.
Sanity, needed to eat,
Yeah.
can't live off ramen. And
Modern slave day culture to show that.
so I was pretty depressed about that, having to drop something that I'd gone through university and worked for. And one of my friends I was living with at the time basically said, you should come and do this woodblock printing class. You say you like it and stuff, and may as well enjoy it.
Oh, that was one of our print parties, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't remember
But
that.
it wasn't
Soka,
actually
soka.
you that did it at the time. It was Teiko-san, Dei-chan.
Koizumi-kun, kana?
Yeah. They did the woodblock print class. So I spoke to them a bit about it. But at that time, the whole lesson was basically in Japanese because my friend could speak Japanese very well. I could not. So I went and found your YouTube channel and looked up all the videos. And I think a month or so later, walked in the door and asked if I could work here.
Yeah, I think that was a few days after Rose-san. I was thinking, what's going on? There's an epidemic of Australians coming in here. I can't remember exactly. She was first, right? And then you followed a few days later, I think. So, can't remember.
No, I think she spoke to you just after I came. But at that point, I wasn't doing anything besides, I think mostly just doing the scanning for flea market.
We've almost talked ourselves into the plan, the new plan for the museum space, Did you read the blog post the other day, or you haven't seen that? So,
A new one?
the idea, the way to use the first floor here,
No, I did not.
Well, the current thinking is, we know foreigners are not coming back now for a long, long time. This is actually emphasized too. It was yesterday or 2 days ago, the government was talking about they're deciding on what to do with the Olympics. And they've decided that they are actually going to allow the athletes in.
Okay.
This was an announcement that we don't worry about it. The Olympics can go forward because we are going to amend the immigration rules. We're going to allow the athletes to come in. They didn't say we're not going to allow anybody else in, but they said we've decided to expand the little barriers we have in place. We've opened them enough to allow the athletes in. They've got to be tested the last few minutes before they get on a plane. They'll be tested when they arrive. They are going to be kept in their hotels and the venues, but bus back and forth, no public transport, nothing. They're going to be in their, quote, bubble. They've seen the NBA and the NHL work with their bubbles. They're ignoring the fact that the American baseball bubble didn't work, but whatever. Anyway, they're picking and choosing, whatever. So the point being that even the government here is obviously, there will be no tourism here, clearly, for at least another year and maybe 2 more years, whatever. So Dave we've finally realized, okay, forget that. There is no shop here. We can't have a shop for 1 year, 2 years. What to do? The landlady really wants us to stay. She's probably going to give us a help on that. So okay, so given that we're going to stay, how can we make some sense out of this? We can't just stay and keep the door closed for the next 2 years. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So one thing leads to another, one thing leads to another. We know there is interest in Japanese people in what we do. They just don't buy stuff.
Yeah.
You've seen them. They come in and talk to Shiba-san for like a half an hour or an hour, and Shiba-san gets excited and explains everything, and they say, wow, good, and they walk around together, and then they go home. But the point I made in the blog post was that's actually a business model where there's a room full of interesting stuff. People come in and look at it. The staff chats them about it, explains it, and then they go home. It's called a museum. Or a gallery or museum or Huggaboots, whatever word you want to use for it. So that is actually a business model. So the current thinking is we switch this around. We take all this shop stuff here, put it in the back room. Quite a dense structure, but it'll go in there, and that's the museum shop. This whole area that you see as white painted walls and everything now, we put fabric on the walls or black painted or whatever, spotlight, highlight, put 10 prints up, and this is a museum and people pay to come in. And Mokuhankan becomes the Mokuhankan Woodblock Print Museum. Tokyo is desperate for interesting small museums, especially to do with woodblock prints and ukiyo-e. And assuming a normal flow of tourists, eventually they would, consume that product. They would pay to come to a place like this. And especially if there's demonstrations of the work going on and a place to buy woodblock prints at the same time. So that's the current thinking, and over the next few months we should just turn this place upside down. Build a museum, get it ready, and it would be a mini museum. There's only going to be 10 prints on display at any one given time period. A really low entry fee, 200 or 300, 500 yen for 2 people and 300 for 1, or something like this. Really low, people could walk by and just drop in. And if we did this, we would get tons of publicity. We have I have a huge Rolodex of media stuff. It's no problem. I could get all the publicity I want within a few minutes if I have a good product to show. So that's the current thinking on this. But we would then have to tear apart the shop and rebuild it as an attractive print display space. And Aoyama-san's like, we just built it. And I'm like, I don't care. That's history. You've got the expression sunk costs. They're gone. Forget it. They're history. They're history. Just look forward.
You wouldn't have to destroy...
No, we were thinking how to do it without destroying the stuff. Yes, so we do. We have it, like we're sketching and stuff. We have a plan. And we think we can make a very attractive little museum in this place. And so far the reaction, we were chatting about this on stream the other day, the initial reaction was, hey, sounds pretty okay, sounds pretty cool, And I was a bit worried when the idea first came up that, okay, all the YouTube viewers and stuff, they've been waiting for years to come and see us. And imagine this, 2 years from now, Narita finally opens up again. All these YouTube fans come in, they come up the street, I gotta pay to get in, what? And that's a downside. But the point is, that's not gonna happen for 2 years yet. So we've got 2 years to show and tell about what we're doing, that Mokuhankan has become an actual, destination place.
And even then, there was some discussion a while ago about setting up a second print party room upstairs in the old one. So
that's a question of staff. It's the same thing. The event was killing me. I could not continue doing those print parties. You were coming along okay, but you couldn't run a print party by yourself with 4 people, and even after a year's practice. Having staff that can do that, and that can do it day after day, and that when they phone in sick, what are you going to do? It was an unsustainable thing,
It was basically Shiba-san for the entire week, and you for the rest of the days.
Oh, on that particular event, whatever, yes. So, it just became unsustainable. We made it too much of a wonderful thing. We overbuilt it, the product. We built something that just could not be sustained,
Have you walked around to any of the other small museums to get a gist of the idea?
Well, no, because I don't in any way want our museum to look like those places. I have a really clear idea about what I want and what I want to do with this. The way we've treated our online collection is different from any other gallery of ukiyo-e prints online, and I want that same impact in this room. Within seconds, I want their jaw to be on the floor, within seconds of coming in.
I think already, even if you didn't change anything about this, you just put up prints on the wall and that's the museum. It has a completely different feel to all of the other museums.
Yes, but it would still be not special.
No.
I want 2 things. When they come in the room, they're going to think, like we'd have with the shop, People, when they come to the shop, it looks really nice. The shop upstairs was the same, and this one downstairs. Even though it's a shop, we designed it. It's designed with taste and attractiveness. And this museum idea will be the same thing. When they walk in the door, it's, wow. And then when they get close and look at one of the prints, it's like we do not want a normal experience. It's just a quirk of my character or whatever,
Do Do you have any ideas for changing the entryway?
Yes, the good question is again how much we can afford to spend on this when we know it's going to run in the red for at least a year. You know, there's lots of factors involved here, and how much we're legally allowed to change, and what fire regulations allow us to do and not to do, and stuff like this. So it requires a lot of very careful planning and consideration. But it's got to look much more attractive from outside. Absolutely. This is at the moment it's way too funky. Have you seen the new crepe shop 2 doors down?
I got a glimpse of it.
Sometime today, take a look, walk down there. They haven't been working over the past couple of days. It's a bit wrapped up, but you can see the basic concept. It's an omotesando kind of approach. It looks beautiful.
It doesn't have all the
It looks beautiful. Everything about it is clean and simple.
Okay.
It's usable. It's a usable interface for the shop for buying the stuff, and it looks clean. And the area around it is rat infested. They're in a rat infested building. Upstairs is crazy, but their interface, the part that people see, is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Hopefully that.
Are we getting conversation? You're not giving me any feedback on what's happening here, so I don't know if there's any. I'm just running in a vacuum here. Sorry. So.
I've been checking for questions. There haven't been much. There's been a little bit of discussion, but not questions.
Okay, keep me in touch with what's going on there. So.
What's your favorite anime?
Oh, you're talking to you, not to me, right?
No,
okay.
to you.
No comment on it. I don't have anime. What do you mean anime? The last anime I saw was Totoro in 1986.
It's more current than Nausicaa.
Never seen it. I was listening to Suzuki-san's podcast last night. He has a podcast Sunday nights, Sunday night at 11:30 to 12.
Huh.
He's in like episode 395 or something now, so on Tokyo FM, and I was listening to him. He is a really interesting character. Before I started listening to the podcast, I had no idea. I thought he's whatever, Mr. Japanese salaryman / businessman / owner, whatever. I get who he is. I don't need to talk to him because I know how he's thinking. He's not like that. He is an interesting, and I mean he is an interesting dude.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk to him, And after actually, it wasn't this week's episode, it was last week's episode. There was something that he stunned me by, something he said in his podcast. They were talking about the new Super Kabuki adaptation of Noshika, what's the pronunciation?
I'm not quite
No,
sure.
the anime, Nausicaa. What's
Nausicaa.
yeah? So there's a Super Kabuki adaptation of this going on at the moment.
Yes.
And 2 weeks ago, his podcast, he was talking with one of the whatever producers, directors, or something of that. And I've never seen the anime, and I've never seen the Kabuki, but whatever. The guy is such an interesting guy. The conversation was great, and he staggered me by saying something. Just near the end of the podcast, he's saying, this thing about the ukiyo-e and Japanese anime influencing the world, and then the ukiyo-e influencing. They all know the story. Blah blah blah. Japanese ukiyo-e went overseas to the West, and blah blah blah. Van Gogh got really shocked by it, and all these people saw this and dramatically changed Western art. The guy says, yeah, I know, we know the story. He said, and in Japanese, basically, he said, it's bullshit. No, it's not bullshit. It happened. But he said the other part of the story that nobody knows is what happened in the 100 years before that, when a closed Japan had started to open up in Nagasaki and Kobe, and European art was dribbling in, and coming up to Tokyo and Edo, and it was staggeringly influencing the Japanese artists, including Hokusai, who did this, oh my God, perspective, I never thought of that before. And the Great Wave is based on Western perspective. And, no, I know this story. We talk about this all the time here in Mokuhanka. But to hear this on a podcast from just some guy, Suzuki-san, and I was staggered by this. He knows about this. Where did he learn that? Has he been following my blog?
Pretty smart.
So, and I'm the bad guy here because I didn't know this. I'm not insulting him at all. I just didn't know this. So when I heard that last night, I thought, shit, what I should do. I should write to Tokyo FM and say, where's the lineup for getting on his podcast to be a guest? Because I heard this from him the other day, and I want to chat with him about this.
Do it.
And I think today I'm gonna write a letter. I can't write to him directly, but if I write to Tokyo FM, care of the podcast, and I would love to do that.
Do it.
And then Dave thinks, okay, wait a minute. If I did that, and if they said yes, and I go on his podcast to talk about ukiyo-e history and stuff, then partway through the podcast, I open my bag. Do I dare do this? Could this possibly be a way through for this? And especially then in the morning, I saw this news about they've done this poster thing.
Yeah.
In other words, they're not so tight on their copyrights. They're going to say, it's okay. And Dave, I couldn't sleep last night. I was thinking, oh my God, I can see this. What would happen? Suzuki-san would say, sure, go ahead.
Or the the opposite would happen, and you two get in an aggravated fight.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that chance, whatever.
But definitely do it. I'll remind you today, probably around lunchtime.
But he spoke, I don't know, quite often you get this thing in Japanese. I know the podcast a few weeks ago before that, there's a young woman who acts as sort of host and stuff. And it's a bit too much of the young lady saying, so desu ka? And he's spouting and spouting. The older man spouts and talks, and the younger woman says, omoshiroi desu ne, toka. And that's a
challenge.
And it's a classic Japanese situation. The old man, the older male knows it all, and the younger female is the receptive, whatever for this. And that's a repellent part of Japanese society for me. You see this on every freaking TV show all day long, all the way through. So I was a little bit down about this. But he doesn't come across in that patronizing way. He's really trying to talk to her, actually. In fact, I get the impression that Suki-san is saying to her, look, just talk to me. Don't just sit there and say, I don't want to see your tits. I want to talk to you about what's going on here, something like this. And I got the impression that he was that kind of guy that wanted to have a conversation. So you're saying if David goes on there and has a fight with him, maybe
it might be interesting.
Yeah, and then he'll say, can I see you next week, or whatever, I don't know. So I'm supposed to
have a show and tell today?
I have a show. Is it that time? No way.
9:12.
Okay, now give me 3 more minutes. Oh my God. I've got nothing done yet today. This is the story of my life.
So much free time now, but none of it's free.
Exactly. I've never been busier. In 68 years now, I have never been busier and sort of, don't misunderstand this, but I've never been more stressed. I don't mean stress like I can't sleep and I'm shaking and I'm in trouble and I'm throwing up. Not that kind of stress, but just, oh my God, I can't clear the desk. I cannot clear the desk,
And it's also the thing of now there's no sudden print parties and things like that this is top priority, I have to get that done. A lot of the other priority setting is up to you.
Yes, and I'm not good at this. I am failing in my responsibility to organize my life. And that's why those Patreon chibis you're mailing today, they were supposed to be sent in June, and it's now October. And that's just another example. The stuff is falling off the end of the desk every day, And I know it's pandemic, but.
Your transition from a shop to a museum, could that include simple beginner's carving kits?
That's a different story. A museum is a museum. It doesn't sell stuff. Now, the tools is also still happening in the background, and you're perhaps not aware of it. We have actually on our desk now, we have the first physical samples of our tools. So the tool project, nothing to do with the museum or the shop or anything, the tool project has been very slowly progressing and moving along, and it's now getting close. Now, the ones we have so far are not saleable yet. We chatted a little bit about these. There's still a problem with the wrapping. There's still a problem with the button. The shape isn't quite decided, but it is moving forward. But our tools will not be beginner tools. We've gone at top level steel. The idea was to get something into the market that doesn't exist. Yeah. There's all levels of toys and student level stuff out there, even the ones that are nominally supposed to be pro level stuff. It's actually student level stuff. So we are not going to aim at that part of the market. We are not going to make student material. We are not going to make cheap material. We are going to try and knock it out of the park with a level of tools that just do not exist anymore. And for us, that's the need, because there are lots of people overseas doing this now, and a bunch of them are getting good, and they need access to really, really good tools. So no connection with the museum at all, but the tool project is turtle speed, moving full speed ahead, turtle speed.
Link to the podcast. It's
Suzuki sent the podcast. It's all in Japanese. There's nothing remotely English about it. So.
Tokyo FM.
It's Tokyo FM, and it's runs Sunday night at 2300 hours weekly, and he's now episode 300 and whatever it is, and it's called Ghibli Ase. I don't remember.
Google Tokyo FM Ghibli podcast.
Ghibli.
Likely come up.
But it's completely Japanese. It's not even remotely. There's no explanation page in English. There's nothing. It's a product for domestic consumption.
What kind of language is it? Like academic Japanese?
No, it's chat. It's a Japanese radio program, which means it's chat.
Yeah.
And he's he has a good, very nice voice, It's a resonant and speaking, but he chats very casually, and there's lots of ums, ahs, and ns and stuff like that. But he's an interesting guy. But if you don't speak Japanese, it's completely meaningless to you. I'm sorry. And in fact, me too. I speak Japanese, but if you wander into philosophical discourse and stuff, I start to get bogged down pretty quick. You know. Okay, show and tell. Show. Can you do one thing? Can you take the, click on the outside camera, Major 2.
This one?
I don't know which. It'll give you a red border on here, and pull that down a bit smaller.
Pull it down smaller.
Yeah, okay, somewhere like good. And let's have a look at what we've got. Okay. Now, this is some stuff we got. These days I am not buying much of anything on Yahoo Auctions for a couple of reasons. Well, one main reason. It's pandemic, we're struggling for money, and Dave cannot throw money around casually these days at all. So on auctions we are buying in 2 cases only. One, when it looks like an item has come up that we can use in our business, that we can resell. Or 2, when it's an item for our collection, but that can be purchased with pocket change. I can no longer afford to spend hundreds of dollars on items for the collection when we are taking Patreon money to help support our rent and staff. So the buying from Yahoo Auction now is trivial buying. And that's what we had this time. This came up a couple of weeks ago, and it was just, I forget the number, it was like 1,200, 1,500 yen or something like this. And so whatever, Dave can buy it from pocket change from his own private money. And it's funny, we in the correspondence back and forth with the guy who sold it to us, he said, I got thousands more. He said, I'm a retired guy, I'm 87 years old, and it's time to get rid of my stuff. And I got thousands more. So Aoyama-san wrote him saying, can we drop over?
Where is it?
I don't know, it hasn't written back yet. Because this is Yahoo Auctions, there's no private, there's no private details. Okay, anyway, so there's a few things here. The first thing is there's some random little prints that were kind of interesting. What I want to look at mostly is what's below here. How's our time? What time is it?
Past.
Okay. Let me spend a couple of minutes first. The first group of prints was from a series or a set of some kind. It's not quite clear actually what they are. They're very, very inexpensively produced, and he sold them very, very inexpensively. And they are, let's look at this. Everybody knows, before I tell you, you know who this couple is, right? Look at the shape of this and the shape of this. Kira-san's nodding at me. She knows what this is. Are we getting any reaction here?
Nothing yet. Am I his apprentice or intern? No. I am a part-time worker. Ebisu.
Bingo, they've got it, and it is. It's Ebisu Daikoku no Zu. And it's from some set of prints that has a theme that I cannot determine.
The second one is not a frying pan or a fan, it is a mallet.
So this is it actually looks something not too different from my mallet here. If you imagine a thing sticking out the top of it, it's the mallet, and it's a shaking mallet. You shake it to bring fortune and money and cascading gold coins and whatever. So it's a very classic. It's a modern adaptation of a classic theme, Ebisu Daikoku. And I'm going to pass it on quickly because what I'm trying to figure out is what's the theme of this book. The book was chewed up. They're all bound at the left, and they all come with an explanation sheet which has poetry. There are a bunch of poems with somebody's poetry handle name. So it was sort of, here's the theme we've set. Ebisu Daikoku is the current theme. Okay, guys, go for it. Let's have your poems. And that would have been published. You can see it's all, the holes match up back and forth. It was all folded together and published as some kind of album. And I have 4 sheets from the album. One was Ebisu Daikoku. The other one, the next one, it's from Shingu, which is down at the bottom. It's at the top end of Wakayama Prefecture, at the bottom end of the bottom end of the Kii Peninsula, and it's a lumbering area, of course. And what we have here, it'll be the Kumanogawa, and lumbering guys are doing their job on the raft, and it's very. This is not artistic at all. Bunch of straight lines. This is as far from a Hokusai image as you could possibly imagine. It's an illustration showing what was going on. And again, it's rafting at Shingu City. And we have the same kind of thing. A quick explanation of what it is, and then a bunch of poems. So what's the connection here? Ebisu Daikoku, and then a bunch of lumbering. Next one is Shimada Machi, snow scene, Yuki no. kishki. And this may not actually show because it's mostly blank paper with the snow. And of course it's supposed to represent a snow scene. And we have again water and rafting and boats, but what is the connection? I really don't know.
Someone mentioned nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes. I don't see anything specifically childish about it. I can't read the script enough, and this is all poetry. So, Yukimi Hori Fune. So, it's a boat for snow viewing. Very nice calligraphy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful calligraphy. But what's the connection? And one final one before we move on to the thing that I really want to look at today. The fourth one. And again, there's a theme developing here. We have now again rafting. So I don't know. We have two about rafting, one about a boat with snow viewing, and then one about a generic thing, ebistaikoko, which is good fortune coming. So and again, but it's so inartistic. It's just whatever. It's like an architectural drawing or something. It's completely inartistic. But the prints themselves are kind of nicely made. There's no date or anything on any of these, but looking at this, I would say late Meiji or Taisho period.
The fact they are architectural and maybe the snow viewing one doesn't match up, they could be to do with like workmen and, for example, like advertising. You could.
Okay, but the poetry, you know. Okay, anyway, let's put that aside. I should probably just save that for some other time, because what I really want to look at is this one. This one has me stumped, and I'm going to ask for help from the stream and for anybody who's going to give me some hint about what's going on here. I saw this and thought, what is this? It's dated. This is dated Taisho 4, and the 4 prints here are numbered in sequence, and they're dated in sequence. And what are we seeing in this imagery here? This is Taisho 4. This is 19, whatever. John's probably already got it in here. Taisho 4 is 1915 or something. I don't know.
1915.
1915. And what are we looking at? There's a barrel. This guy has lit the barrel, and out of it have come, or are coming, demons. And this is dated Taisho 4, the 12th month, the 6th day, and it's number 177. These are in reverse order. They're all numbered. This is 160. We're going back a few days. This is September the 30th of the same year. What are we looking at? You tell me. Are these demons fighting? This looks like what Jed drew for our. This looks like something from our yokai series last year.
It does. Style actually matches pretty well.
And I've got 4 of them. Now, whether there was 170 of these things, I haven't a clue. I guess I've just got them now. I haven't had any time to do some research. What is going on? This is dated a few days. This is the numbers a few in advance. It's the 9th month, the 19th day. So this looks like a series almost daily, running through 1915. Here's the first one. What are we looking at? These are it's all demons and fighting and roughness, but are these Westerners? Are these Japanese?
The armor would make me think Japanese, but
it's got bits of Japanese armor to show, little bits and pieces of Japanese armor. The halberd is a Japanese style. That looks like a what do you call it? Like a turban of some kind. This is a hat. This is a parody of a Western uniform with boots. I haven't a clue. This just arrived like 2 days ago, and I haven't inspected it, tried to translate the stuff or anything. What are we looking at? These are woodblock prints. And I guess it's pages from a book or pages from an album. It's not great paper. They're cheaply produced.
But if they were coming out almost daily, I wouldn't expect the production value to be extremely high.
Oops, sorry, should be on the
Maybe
extreme.
symbolic for something political. Anti-alcohol.
I don't know. So it's going to be really fun to try and, step one, of course, is to try and get a little bit of translation here and try and figure out what on earth we're talking about.
It does look like a manga or like a kid's book.
1915, so this is before such a thing as a manga in the sense of a sequential story and something existed. And there's clearly some kind of theme running through these. And even the bottom part, whether it's poetry or text or explanation, it's a totally different structure for each one. It's not like part one, part two. The calligraphy is different, the text is different. They don't match at all.
Like mail-in letters, for example, getting kids to write something, or like an essay or whatever, and a designer then illustrates that.
I'm open to any suggestions. I don't know. I really don't have a clue. The calligraphy is different for everything. The hanko, at the bottom of the design, is different from everything. Clearly the illustrations are the same person or the same, you know. So I'm sorry not to do this as a show and tell, as a, let me show you something interesting and explain everything about this. I don't have a clue what we're looking at here today. All I know...
For training early craftsmen.
You mean for like practice runs? I don't know. I know the thing that would make me say no about this is that calligraphy is very nicely carved. I mean, this is not a beginner's work at all. And the fact that these are rough people doesn't mean it's rough work. The printmaking, actually, the color is a bit rough because it's bad paper. But this is carved quite tastefully. So this is not beginner's work, you know. I'd be willing to accept that it's a sosaku work. It's some guy by himself who is artistically doing something, drawing, designing, carving, and printing by himself, rather than sending it out to a printmaker's workshop.
It does seem like a kind of mail-in newspaper column.
Actually, do now that I notice some of this is hand painted. That green is not printed. That green is hand painted. It may all be painted. The key blocks are printed, the rest is painted. But look, it's painted perfectly within the lines. This is, wait. Somebody has spent a ton of time on this. Those colors are painted in.
Does that mean only the key block is printed?
Well, no, because that red's printed, clearly. The red is printed and carved out for that number. The numbers are all absolutely printed. That red may be printed. I mean, you've got to get under the microscope and look at the back, but there's no barren striations at all. The colors are showing fudemura, like you do with watercolor. There's dark and light patches inside it. There's, you know, patchwork clothing. What's the action happening here, you know? So anyway, apologies for not being able to explain what this is all about, but there it is. That's something we just got, and it's clearly woodblock printed. It's from an interesting era. It's very nicely made. I'll report back when I learn more. I'll report back when I learn more.
Possibly the collector could tell you more.
Yeah, maybe so. It's possible so. He said, I've got thousands. I forget the exact word. Namamai. They're tens of thousands of things, you know. And he's got them all. He's got them all in these little envelopes, just one by one by one by one by one. Scattered. He's broken up sets. He may have hundreds of these. He just put a few up on auction. So he's already broken up the book. I don't know. So I'm hoping he will write back. You know. He did write to us saying, "Are you interested?" And Ayama-san wrote back and said, "Let's talk." You know.
Yeah.
So that's all I know. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Is it normal to date prints like that?
Well, not really. I mean, it's a specific woodblock print, like most of the ones we make, have no dates on them at all. Of course not. As soon as you date something, you're killing its lifespan in the market, so they're making it look old-fashioned. So if this is a continuing story or a saga or a diary or whatever, then dates would have some sense. They're numbered. There's clearly a sequential series of actions happening here.
What's the object that the man with the rifle is holding? Food?
Old-fashioned money, where money is on coins on strings.
In that case, it looks like the left side's rather wealthy and the right more poor.
But it's a mix. This guy's clothed. This guy is like nothing. These two are poor and patched. More, is this more money? I don't know. Home tuning, I have no idea. None of it seems to make any sense whatsoever. So I think when I get a minute, or maybe when somebody gets a minute with the scanner today, we can scan these and do a Google reverse image search.
Yeah, definitely.
Just for the image part and see it. It might possibly, something might pop up and show us what's going on. Okay, anyway, there we have it. I'm sorry to leave it hanging there, but I just do not know what they are. Can I steal the computer back here for a second, Kira-san, from you?
You give the chat some research time before next stream.
Oops, got that here, there. Okay, guys, thanks for this today. At least I got a bit of work today, not much. Again, talk too much, absolutely talk too much. You know, whatever. There's days when I don't talk enough, and there's days when I talk too much, and maybe somehow I'll find it in the middle here. Kira-san, they're spelling your name wrong, Michelle. It's K-I-R-R-A.
It is, but since coming
care.
to Japan, I've just...
Kira, you don't care. Okay, so if you tried to do it with 3 katakana, okay, so. I think in the real world, her name is Kira, K-I-R-R-A, but as you just heard.
New Zealand spelling.
Oh my God, I don't want to go there. Whatever, so okay. Okay, gang, thanks very much. This is Monday morning. I will be back here now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, doing one of a number of different jobs, perhaps mostly, of course, just carving on this first print of next year's series. That's the main work in front of me. Thanks for putting up with this mixed up series today. Back again on Thursday. Please take care, guys. You heard what happened, right? She was no mask, but as soon as she came close to sit down and talk, both of us, that's the way it goes here. That's the way it goes. Everybody masks up, absolutely. See you Wednesday.
Thursday.
Thursday, my God, what have you done to me today here? See you Thursday. Good night for now.